Hello, everybody. This is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. This is the Raging Verbalist number 336. If you're keeping track, why wouldn't you be writing it down? If you're new, welcome. If you've been here a while, thank goodness you're back. You always got interesting things to talk about. I don't dive much into politics, but dive into whatever is in my head. And today we're going to talk about, well, how just about 1 year ago, I was in a car accident. So on June 24th, 2025, I was T-boned. I was T-boned having driven to Denver, Colorado, going to visit my brother, and it totaled my car. The crazy thing is that the police came. The woman who T-boned me, it was one of those deals where the light was changing. I counted a little bit, then I made the turn. 3 lanes of traffic stopped, and she did not. She claimed she slammed on the brakes. No skid marks. Oh, by the way, the camera, so all these procedural TV shows that show the camera and they, get in there with the tight pixels and show all that stuff. Well, camera was, didn't work. So that was just my own bad luck kind of thing, but it happened. Now, what happened is I ended up with a totaled car. By the way, that was a hassle and a half because I had to then essentially talk somebody into lending me a vehicle to drive back to California. Now, I ended up with a spiral fracture in my left hand and my left index finger. And given the fact that I'm left-handed, it meant I had to learn how to cope without being able to really write for a long period of time. And it was, first off, painful, a hell of a lot more painful than I thought it would be. Did go to the emergency room, did find all those things out, and kind of went on that road. But I had to deal with the reality, and this is the point of what we're talking about today, is that, you know, we don't expect things to happen in our life, and right, because they don't, most of the time they don't. You could live your life in total fear and anxiety and say, well, you know, look out, there's a safe that's going to fall on my head, or the earth's going to crack open, or, who knows what's going to happen. But all I can tell you is that it was definitely a surprise that happened. And it was a major change in my life because I had to deal with not only this pain, by the way, it changed a whole bunch of other things. Because of the pain, I ended up taking some medication. Yes, it had some real opiates in it because, I couldn't sleep at night because the thing was like, throbbing and all of that. Meant that I couldn't switch insurance carriers because they thought I had the monkey on my back, that I was, going to become addicted to this. Oh my goodness, let's see how he works out. We have really gotten ridiculous about this whole opiate thing. I know people were taking them for, fun and pleasure, but I was taking it for real serious pain. And that doesn't mean that everybody's going to become an addict. But of course, insurance companies are the way they are today, which is, hey, any risk is too much risk. By the way, that's what you guys are there for, to insure against risk. And no, I'm not taking those anymore because, I've healed that up. Now, getting a medical attention wasn't easy. In fact, the day of the accident, I ended up going to an urgent care, not emergency room, urgent care. By the way, if you go to emergency rooms and hospitals, you'll wait a lot longer. Urgent care are for profit guys. So I went there. First place, I waited for quite some time, and then they said, yeah, you know what? We won't see you because it's an auto accident. We don't get involved in the insurance thing. And literally, she wrote on a piece of scrap paper a place to go to, which I went to. Turned out I was the last visitor, the last patient of the day. They did, I think, an outstanding job. Luckily, my brother was smart enough. Michael got a couple of screen captures by literally taking his phone and taking pictures of the x-rays. So I had them immediately. They gave me a CD, but, it was always a pain in the ass. Like, how many people walk around with a CD on their laptop? I don't anymore. So that was a challenge. Then I came back and I wanted to go see a hand specialist because, that's what they said to me, go get this thing really checked out. First person I went to, which I affectionately or disaffectionately called Dr. Zero. What a freaking waste of time that guy was. I mean, really bad. Found a good doctor who was associated with my orthopedic surgeon for my knees, did a good job, and then said, John, you got to keep working your hand. You got to keep rehabbing it all the time. And I said, when do I stop? And he goes, well, if you're smart, you don't. You keep doing this because as you get older, it's going to be better doing this. So that was a challenge. Now, I had to manage these things because I actually use a thing called a pen, show pen and paper, because that is my favorite way to do diagrams and write things out and I ideate and do all that stuff. And well, I couldn't do it. I mean, I was ended up holding the pen like all kinds of funky ways and doing all kinds of stuff. Even tried to learn how to write right-handed. Can tell you change and change it up at any age is not easy, but man, it wasn't going to happen. Started looking for ways for technology to bail me out, and I'd already been on the trail to try to get some kind of technology that would do transcription for me. It has been a painful process to say the least. I've spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. I've done several Raging Verbalists about this, but meant that I was looking for it. Great that it happened during this rise of AI, and clients were helping me out, telling me about things. So frankly, I ended up coming up with coping strategies and working things through. Um, I've been talking about a program called Whisper Flow. Uh, really like it. Went through the 1 month trial so far, by the way, and 33,000 plus words. Seems like it's working. In fact, I'm doing my scripts that I put together for these. I mean, I would do them spontaneously, but I'd rather make sure I'm coherent and grab everything. I do outlines. That's one of the things I do. So that's good. That's good. Now the good news is that I'm back to drawing diagrams as I used to, though not as fast. But I am doing that, and because of doing the rehab, it works pretty well. And that explains why you should always, always, always get professional advice and stay on top of these things. Now, the hand specialist that I, you know, worked with said, now and forever, continue to do the exercises as I showed you, which is important. And one of the lessons that it taught me is a thing that I talk about in my book. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize the position to win. Now, having that provocative title doesn't mean that you shouldn't read it if you've already started or running a business or you're mid-career. The point of it is that to go back and say, what are the lessons that I can learn from this? I can tell you I'm learning lessons every single day, and having that car accident did a reset for me. And the lessons that I learned over the last year is that one must persevere, not whine and moan, not do all of those things. While I was waiting to see Dr. Zero, I didn't know he was Dr. Zero at the time, but while I was waiting to talk to Dr. Zero, sitting next to me was a guy, older guy, and he turned out to be a retired doctor who was there with his daughter who had a horrific leg accident, broken leg from an equestrian accident. And he's sitting there looking at me. I show him my information, show him what I have, went through my file, looked at my finger. By the way, my finger will probably never be straight again. So it's just reality. And he said to me, well, given your age and all of that, he goes, if you do it right, in 12 to 18 months, you should be pretty much back on track. Not what I wanted to hear. By the way, Dr. Zero gave me what I ended up thinking was not true, because I believe the guy in the lobby. So maybe the Dr. Zero visit was worth it because I met the other doctor. Don't even know his name, but I thank him profusely because he gave me the right insight in the right time frame. And here we are at 12 months and a couple of days. And yes, I can do that without it pain and all of that. I can write without it really causing problems, not as long as I used to be able to, but getting better. And with that, I can just say that the lesson for, I think, all of us is that you need to have that tenacious attitude, develop that mindset that you have what you have, and make it work, and make it work every day. Hopefully this has helped you go through some part of your life that has been a challenge and move yourself forward. And with that, I'm John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. This has been Raging Verbalist 336. Until next time, hopefully we'll see you and come back for the next episode of the Raging Verbalist.